Alright, so if you really want to know the real key to sneaker reselling, it's quite simple. The first thing you need to do is manipulate reward systems. The reason why you see so many resellers hit on so many pairs of sneakers on release day is because they are doing just that. And I'm about to explain how you can do the exact same thing. I'm gonna talk about Foot Locker, I'm gonna talk about Finish Line, I'm gonna talk about how we cop on sneakers and tell you the simple things that you're not doing that we are that makes the difference. Now I'm gonna start with Finish Line, and the reason why is because that system has never failed me. And on top of that, a beginner, somebody who's coming in from nothing, could definitely jump on and fit right in. And ever since I've started doing this, I've been hitting consistently. Now they have two tiers. They have their general admission tiers, and then they have their A-list tier. And where I am is the A-list tier. You want to be there. I rarely miss from that spot because see, Finish Line does their releases on like the EA, which stands for early access system, and they grant it to general admission and A-list members, right? However, A-list members have a much better chance of regularly getting EA. Now here's how it works. You get 10 points per dollar spent with the Finish Line status system. Now with that in mind, you need 2,000 points to redeem an EA offer, meaning you need to spend about $200 just to be able to redeem a sneaker if they even give it to you. Now like I said, 2,000 points puts you in the general admission range, and you want to be in the A-list range, and that's 5,000 points, so that's by spending about $500. Now I actually made a video where I went in the Finish Line and I spent $500 inside of Finish Line, and bro, ever since I've been doing that, I have not missed. Now I know what you're thinking, bro. Most people face this problem, like, bro, when you're coming into sneaker reselling, a lot of times you have limited capital. However, what I suggest you do is take whatever capital you have and go flip sneakers on the sale rack. Contrary to most people's belief, there are shoes that are sitting on shelves that you can still either break even on or make even a little profit. And ultimately, even if you're just breaking even, all you need to do is build those points up. I can't stress this enough. You gotta build those points up. And so ultimately what you would do is rinse and repeat that method until you have enough points to be where you need to be. Now here's something else that's gonna greatly benefit you. Finish Line works off of a constant purchase history basis, right? So what does that mean? That means that as long as you're constantly making purchases, as long as you're in their system, you're gonna get EA. And sometimes even if you're not on the A list. Now here's the true key to that, and here's where pro resellers take this to the very next level. Several different accounts. So imagine if you built your account up to A-list status, right? And then on one of your hits, you went and you did the same thing to your little brother's account. And maybe he's not in A-list, maybe he's in general admission. And then you took your little sister and you did the same thing with her. Before you know it, you have 3 accounts that are hitting, which is gonna guarantee you at least 3 and sometimes 6 pairs on release day. That's how the pro resellers are doing it, bro. Now, with that said, keep this in mind, bro, that if you do use multiple Finish Line accounts, the way that Finish Line works is you can only do 1 account per store, which honestly is great. So I know for me, I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically the Fort Worth area. There's 3 different places that I could put in an account, and that's 3 for me, 3 for my brother, 3 for my wife, anybody who accounts that I may use to do this. All right, now let's talk about Foot Locker. Foot Locker system is a little different, and honestly, they saved my bacon on the Reimagined 3. However, they work similar, except they give you 100 points for every dollar spent. Now, they do have different tiers, but I'm not even gonna waste your time with that because, bro, it honestly does not matter. There's a point threshold that you wanna be at to start like copping limited shoes, and that's actually a range that's between 100,000 points and 500,000 points. Now, if you do the math on that, that's between $1,000 spent and $5,000 spent. Now, if you really got your thinking cap on, then you kind of already see that, wait a minute, Foot Locker system is even more so tailored to benefit resellers, because ultimately, bro, who's spending that type of money in Foot Locker if they not hitting on retros? But it's the same process, and it's actually, hear me out, easier to get to the top or get to that level on Foot Locker versus Finish Line, and here's why. On Finish Line, if you're not in that range, if you're not hitting, then you're not hitting, right? You might have to rely on the sale rack. But with Foot Locker, even if you're not A-list, or even if you're not in that threshold and you're not in the tiers where you're consistently hitting on limited stuff, on the good stuff, you can still hit on the bricks, the GR bricks, right? And that's much better than the sale rack, right? Because you can get a general release that comes out on Saturday that's a brand new release but just isn't limited, and you can break even or make a little profit on those much easier and faster than you would off the sale rack. Now if you're not hit, bro, Foot Locker does their releases kind of like an in-app raffle system. You go in the app, you reserve your size, and then you have two options. There's ship to me, and then there's in-store pickup, right? Most of the time you want to hit on in-store pickup, but ship to me is also a good option as far as giving yourself a better chance to hit. And just like Finish Line, you want to know the way that sneaker plugs are cleaning up and getting all their inventory is having multiple accounts. Because see, with this system, it's not just Finish Line and JD, right? Because they're ultimately the same store. With this system, you got Foot Locker and Champs, and it used to be Foot Action as well. But when you had those accounts that are hitters, bro, you hit 2 pairs at Foot Locker, 2 pairs at Kids Foot Locker, 2 pairs at Champs, and 2 pairs at Finish Line. But now without Finish Line, that's potentially 6 shoes that you can hit on release day, right? So imagine if you're doing that on Finish Line, you hit 6, and then boom, you hit another 6 on Foot Locker. Now you almost got about 12 shoes. That's enough shoes to take them viral pics with the boxes stacked on top of each other. All right, so let's talk about our favorite way to catch L's, and we're talking about the Sneakers app right now. Now, on the Sneakers app, I'm not even gonna hold you or waste too much of your time with the Sneakers app, bro, because everything you've seen about closing apps down, that only helps you so much. Because look, there's some truth into it, bro. Closing apps down, that prevents your app from freezing, glitching, everything like that, which on shoes like the Reimagined One, a lot of people reported they were having issues with. But everything after that, sneakers is a numbers game, right? Meaning supply and demand are the 2 biggest factors that determine if you're gonna be able to hit a shoe or not, and ultimately it's up to sneakers ever-changing algorithm to figure that out. Now, the only thing that you could really do to give yourself a leg up, something that I do, that I cover for a while, is use multiple sneakers accounts. Now, even with that, you could have 60 accounts and none of them hit because they're all sort of low level accounts, right? There are single sneaker accounts that hit more than others, and while nobody has a definite answer, bro, from what I know, from what I see out here in the sneaker world, in the reselling world, even in the botting world, bro, is that accounts that have human activity on them are the ones who get selected, right? And I'm not talking about going and changing your profile picture or none of that. I'm talking about purchases or even losses, right? So the best way that I tell people to make sure your account is one of those accounts is to go ahead, get on sneakers, lose, go for shoes you don't want, buy stuff off of there so that they know that you're a human, right? Because Nike's whole thing right now, they're trying to combat the botters. And I think that a lot of people are getting confused as botters, which is why you see there's some people that are on like 2-year consistent L streaks, bro, to where they've been getting nothing but L's. Now, there's also botting, which if you're just beginning, I'm not even gonna take you that fast right now. But do this for me, man. Comment your city and state below. I'm trying to make a map that shows me everywhere I've touched within the last year. Also, if I gave you some value, please subscribe. If you want to learn how to start botting, I got a video where I break that down, man. Meet me over in that video. Rico gang, I love y'all. Let's get it. Hey, what up, man? It's your boy Rico. If you want to learn how to do different side hustles, how to make money online, then follow me on YouTube for more. Let's get it.